It is week number 3, Sunday already, good people. Hello there. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here. And let's wake up the football gods on this Sunday game day morning. I don't know about you. I don't know about you. I am as excited as can be. You know, this is a far cry from where we were last year, where we were looking at our second game with Cooper Rush starting and stuff, and just getting a little bit of hope that maybe the season wasn't lost. Right now, it is a totally different feel, although we still have issues. A moment of silence for Trayvon Diggs. You can't replace him. You can't replace him. You just can't. He was having an all-pro season. He was being aggressive. He was becoming better than Revis Island over there. He was also becoming a playmaker, causing fumbles and everything else. But fortunately, we have depth, and I have faith in Deron Bland stepping in there. The good thing is we shouldn't really be challenged against the Cardinals. This gets a chance for the Cowboys to start practicing the new look without Trayvon Diggs. Now, again, we've had some injury issues. Our biggest concern, you know, me and Game Time and Law and Vosh and all, we've talked about the offensive line. You've got to invest in the offensive line. And our offensive line has been in flux. You know, we've relied for year after year after year on Tyron Smith, and unfortunately, Tyron Smith has had a lot of hard miles on him. He has a knee issue. He looks most likely to go today. You got center Biotish, who Pro Bowl player last year, who had been starting to step up his game and stuff. He's got a hamstring. He's questionable. And you've got Zach Martin, you know, the best guard in football, also, too, with an ankle injury. Both Biotish and Zach Martin will be game time decisions subject to warm-ups to see how they react. More than likely, I don't think the two of them will go. The good news is we have Tyler Smith back. So if you have Tyler Smith back, you got Bass. We just don't know. We just don't know how they're going to. We also got Igato, who had the hyperextended elbow, but he's practiced all week too. So we've got some options there. It's not ideal. Ideally, what we want to do is we want to stay healthy, and we want to be able to go in there. Now, let's just hope that we can go in there, that there's no let up, okay? Because here's the problem. You know, the Cowboys have had an emotional win, of course, over the Giants and things like that. They had the beatdown of the Jets. We've had Diggs going down and getting hurt this week. We've got the idiots out there, the talking heads that just come up with crazy stuff that have no value whatsoever to the game of sports. You know, when you get Bart Scott literally making light of Diggs is getting injured, you know, and when you hear stupid things where people just say, hey, you know, yeah, the Cowboys are playing great, but, you know, we're going to give the Eagles benefit of the doubt, but not the Cowboys. Or, you know, we still believe in the Shanahans. Now, I'm going to, you know, I've got a person who keeps emailing me and tells me don't ever say anything about the San Francisco 49ers. You know what? I'm going to say whatever the hell I want to say, because this is my house. This is my channel. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And fortunately, YouTube has given me a platform. As long as I am not, you know, crossing the lines here, I can say what I want. Now, you, as the fan, have the option of watching or not watching. You can look at me and say, he's just crazy and stupid. Why waste my time? And I hope that if you really think that that's me, that you don't. But it's so funny because people who always seem to say I'm an idiot seem to watch every single thing. So you know who I'm talking about. But here's the thing with Brock Purdy. Everybody's, oh my God, Brock Purdy, he's incredible. Brock Purdy. He had a game-changing game. He's stepping into his own. You know what he stepped into? A lot of great talent around him. I'm sorry. I know I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. But understand this. He had 310 yards on 25 completions. You look at that and say, oh my God, that's incredible. Until you start looking and saying you need to give credit to your receivers and your running back, because he had 201 yards after completion. You take 310 minus 201, you got 109 yards on 25 completions. That comes out to 4.5 yards a pass. Hello? That is beyond dinking and dunking. I'm not saying it's not winning football, because that's what the Rams did when they had Todd Gurley. Jared Goff was hitting Todd Gurley in screen passes, and Todd Gurley would take it to the house. Not saying that it's not winning football. When you have a Deebo Samuels who's physical, when you got Christian McCaffrey who's right now playing the best of any running back in football, it's not bad when you got a George Kittle, when you have all these weapons that can make plays, which is part of the reason why our offense should be more effective. Quick hitters, getting the ball in space for guys to make the plays. Not mad at them, but trying to point out to people that the screenplay is Brock Purdy's best friend. Because in that game, he had 3 passes that should have been picked off. 3 that were right in the opposition's hands. And he had quite a few passes that were high. The numbers, of course, look great, because you do a screen pass and you get 25 yards, it looks like you made a deep connection. Just trying to point it out, because people will go through and say, oh, Brock Purdy, you guys lost to. Well, we lost to a great team with a lot of playmakers. And as I pointed out yesterday when I said that Dak Prescott was handicapped, in comparison to the San Francisco 49ers weapons, thus far this year, if you take Zeke Elliott, you take Dalton Schultz, you take even Michael Gallup, and you take Noah Brown, which were all the weapons that Dak Prescott had in that game against the 49ers, plus CeeDee Lamb, thus far, the collection of those 4 guys have a total of 120 yards. In 8 games of playing time. That's it. So when they say that, a franchise quarterback makes the people around them better, I'm sitting here looking at what these guys are doing and saying, they sure seem like they played a lot better last year when they were with Dak than they certainly are without him. All right, so there we have it. I've already been up and around since like 6:30 this morning. I already got a big pot of chili. I got my chicken slice and my shrimp peeled for our fajita sub. We got a pot of chili that's cooking in here. We're going to have the glizzies and the chicken wings and things, and we're going to be ready to have a ball here. We'll be starting out at 1 o'clock. I do want to go through, because this, I talked yesterday a little bit about the idiots, about what it seems like when you join ESPN, it's almost like joining a gang and you have to get the beat in. You've got to look like the village idiot and say stupid shit about the Cowboys before you can become a member of the club. Dan Orlovsky always said stupid shit about the Cowboys, that Sean Payton had gotten Quincy Carter with the Cowboys to the Super Bowl. It's like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? Quincy Carter didn't sniff any Super Bowl. We didn't go to any Super Bowls in the 2000s. What, are you crazy? He said things like Carson Wentz has a Hall of Fame pedigree. I don't know what that even means. I can understand if, the Manning family, their brother that's in college, I can understand them saying that he's got a Hall of Fame pedigree, since they've already got 2, and we know Eli's going to go in because they're royalty, but be that as it may. But Dan Orlovsky has come to the realization that he's been wrong. And now can't admit it.
We are back on Get Up. One of the big stories of this early NFL season has been the dominance of the Dallas Cowboys, with the defense leading the way. And then Dak Prescott coming off a game of 255 passing yards and 2 scores as they carved up what we still think is a pretty stout defense.
This is amazing.
Of the New York Jets. Cowboys have a plus 60 point differential. That is the best in the NFL, not just this season. They're just the fifth team in the Super Bowl era to score 70 or more and allow 10 or fewer in the first 5 games of a season. You see, it has not been done
amazing.
Often. So there's a lot of different places to go here. I want to talk about the coach and the play caller. I want to talk about the superstar on defense. But first, I want to ask this question. Is there any doubt the Dallas Cowboys are the best team in the NFC?
Yes, I have the San Francisco 49ers, right?
Of course, because I'm a hater.
And what he means to that offense, the way Brock Purdy is operating, a lot of people had questions coming into this season. He's answered those questions in the first 2 games. You look at their all 3 levels defensively, whether it's their defensive line, whether it's their linebackers, and then you got a playmaker in Hufanga. Shavarius Ward was an underrated signing, I think, last year, because now you bring over a guy that's accustomed to playing man coverage when he was in Kansas City. So I look at the San Francisco 49ers right now as the best team in the National Football League.
I won't say it on television. I told Cody Jones from Dude Perfect I won't say it on television. But to answer your question, I won't say it on television.
You won't say that the Cowboys are the best team?
I told him I refuse.
You just refuse to say it out loud.
It takes me to Augusta in 2024. I'm not saying it on TV.
But
I have 2 questions about the Cowboys.
Go.
In regards to the Cowboys.
Go.
Are they ever going to be down by more than 10 this year?
And?
Because of the defense, really?
Yeah.
And the second question, I'll ask you this. Who can block them?
I love it.
That's the biggest question right now. What offensive lines in the NFC do we honestly believe can handle their front? Detroit?
Maybe.
Green Bay?
Maybe. Philly? Maybe.
So, like, that's where this all starts with the Cowboys. Who can handle the defensive front?
But you know what? That last sack by Michael Parsons, listen, we talk about the athletes and obviously Michael Parsons. Dan Quinn does such a great job of scheming your protection.
No doubt.
Breaking down your protection. So not only do you have guys that can get after the quarterback, but his scheme makes it even easier for those guys to get to the quarterback.
That's my thing. It's like we could have all these conversations. What teams in the NFC honestly can handle their front? Because if you can't handle your front, you have no shot. And if you have no shot, you're never going to be up by more than 10. So the offense is going to play very controlled, like we talked about with Dak Prescott, and the defense is going to play with leads, and Dan Quinn's going to put Micah on the either weakest part or protection plan.
October 8th.
Can I answer the question? The question is you can't go around them, so you have to go through them. That's who handles their defensive front.
Who does that?
Well, Detroit does it better than anybody else.
I love it.
You went to exactly where I was headed. Last year, that was an issue. Last year,
Smith.
Last year, people were running on them. And you know what the Cowboys did? They traded for Jonathan Hankins, and then they drafted Mozzie Smith because they knew that's the only area based on that team that we need to show up was our run defense. That has been handled.
And part of that is just like you can't just consistently run the football against them unless you're in the game.
Right.
Unless you have some form of a one-score game.
Because if you get down,
they're built like
with you.
The great
October 8th,
Indianapolis.
ladies and gentlemen.
Is that
October 8th.
Sunday night footballs when they play San Francisco at San
But
Fran.
I would say
I'm looking forward to that game.
I would say this, defensive line-wise, Cowboys defensive line versus the 49ers offensive line.
It's a mismatch.
I agree.
It's a mismatch.
I agree too.
It's a mismatch.
But also,
the 49ers offensive line.
The right side is not what it used to be right now.
No, the 49ers offensive line is not where it used to be.
But we got to flip that, though.
I was going to
The 49ers defensive line versus the Cowboys offensive line.
I'll take that matchup.
Okay. Let me hear from Kmart. Get Kmart in.
I agree. I see why you can't write off the Cowboys, but they haven't done it yet. That matchup, we will see it. The Cowboys have shored up those weaknesses, but until you see Dak against the 49ers defense, like we've talked about Nick Bosa, we've talked about those dogs already, and we've seen the Cowboys not match up right.
Okay.
A lot of this has to do. I think you're speaking. A lot of it has to do with Cowboys. Basically in the past. That's where I feel a lot of this. The letdowns that the Cowboys, Cowboys teams in the past have done year after year. I'm just looking at what I see on film the first 2 weeks.
You know why?
They're dominant.
Yeah.
They're just dominant. Come on. There's no other way to put it. Come on. Let's tell the truth here.
Oh, you about to be you about to.
Uh-oh, here she go.
Okay.
You're gonna put that right off and be like, oh, really?
Hey, that's okay.
She always reminds me of the girlfriend. Oh, girl. You know, he don't treat you right.
We'll find out everything that we need to know. In the meantime, let's get to the biggest star in the sport, or in any sport.
All right.
And that's Deion Sanders. Let's talk about college.
Okay, so there we have it. Are the Dallas Cowboys that team? It's amazing to see Dan Orlowski basically admitting that the Cowboys are that team. He just cannot say it because, see, we got a new theme here. I don't know if you've noticed the crow. The crow that we have on the table with the hot sauce right beside it. It's time to eat crow for all of you fools out there. All right, we got to get ready for this game day. I got to run over and see Rashid. And but we're working on it. We will have a big reveal hopefully later on today. But it is time to get that bottle of hot sauce because a lot of you are going to be eating crow. I'm Mark Holmes, and game day is here. Peace.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Sports Report.